I just entered into jiu-jitsu. I have no idea. First month, I have no idea what's jiu-jitsu. And I'm trying to understand this game,
Yeah.
No, not able to breathe, not able to understand the moves. I'm like, how come people are able to remember this?
Yeah.
There are so many. It's one of the complicated sports, I would say, man.
Yeah. It's
Not like, boxing. Boxing is like if you go 2-3 months,
absolutely.
you'll get the idea that how to do the
There's one
techniques.
guy. He's called Tony Jeffries. He's an Olympic bronze medalist in boxing. He has a YouTube channel, like a big YouTube channel. Like he has, I don't know how many followers, but he gets good views on his YouTube channel. He puts a lot of nice content out there. And one of the things is like, I'm trying jiu-jitsu for like 30 days consecutively. Or 30, yeah. So Tony Jeffries, like Olympic bronze medalist, tries jiu-jitsu. So after that period, he didn't, I think, do the film immediately. He did it 3 months later. He's like, listen, guys, I'm 3 months. He did a different video making a comparison.
I see.
Between boxing and jiu-jitsu, which is better, which is this.
Okay.
So he's like, one of the differences between jiu-jitsu and boxing is like, listen, I love jiu-jitsu. I become addicted to jiu-jitsu. My kids don't do boxing now. I made them do jiu-jitsu. He loves it.
Really?
And he's a boxing coach and he's known for his boxing. Like I said, Olympic bronze medalist, European champion. And he's like, but the thing about jiu-jitsu is I've been doing it for 3 months and I still look terrible. Like if you look at me rolling, if I look myself rolling, I don't look fluid. I've invested a lot of hours in it. It's like, I think I've done it for 3 months. Even after another 3 months, I think I'll still look, how do I say, like clumsy, But I said, but the thing about boxing, even after 5 sessions, you look good, learn the stance, you learn how to get your hands out, boom, boom, boom. You can look good after 5 sessions. With jiu-jitsu, it takes time, It takes time because it's such an awkward movement where we use a lot of muscles that we have never used, and
this sports, I wish I knew this before. Did you have any
everybody
feeling?
have this feeling. Everybody has this feeling. All the guys that stick with me, like, I wish I did this before. One of my students actually says, how many hours we put into football when we were kids.
Yes.
I wish I could take them all that back. I want these hours and put them into jiu-jitsu. It's like if I did jiu-jitsu at that age,
I wish, some guys, they start so early.
So early, yes. It's very.
And I'm sure, let's say Gracie family things.
Yeah.
They start so early. I mean, the kids, they're playing with the way they play with the grandparents. It's from there itself. They are jiu-jitsu.
We see this, and I see it in wrestling in Dagestan. It's crazy.
You visited any places there or?
Dagestan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trained there.
I heard some of the Bahrain clubs go there, train, camp.
They went for MMA camps. I was going there more for wrestling camps, freestyle wrestling. And freestyle wrestling in Dagestan is like different level.
They call this something called catch wrestling, right?
Catch wrestling, yes. I've done also
What's
catch
the
wrestling.
difference between catch wrestling and jiu-jitsu, according to you?
Okay, so you ready? Because there is some fun, interesting history behind this. So catch wrestling was the original style of wrestling. It was freestyle wrestling, Greco-Roman came from catch wrestling. So it was the original wrestling style of
Romans.
The Olympics. No, there is now today in the Olympics we have 2 types of wrestling.
Yeah.
We have Greco-Roman wrestling and freestyle wrestling. Greco-Roman is only upper body. Like you cannot hold someone leg, like single leg, double leg. You're not allowed to hold waist down.
Okay.
So it's mainly throws. It's not as much movement as freestyle wrestling because there are not so many openings. But when a move is hit in Greco-Roman, it's always like a highlight reel, because you're only allowed like the upper body things, lifting a guy in the air and like just suplexing him, stuff like freestyle wrestling. You're allowed to do like the Greco-Roman stuff, the upper body and lower body. So you're attacking the leg. So basically in both wrestling styles, the main idea is to take somebody down, try to pin them on their shoulder if you can. Pin in wrestling is equivalent to a submission in jiu-jitsu. So if you pin someone, puts his shoulders on the mat, pin, even for 1 second, the ref is gonna like slap his hand on the mat and it's over. They call it a touche or touche. Or you can accumulate 10 points difference. If you accumulate 10 points, so if it's 10-0, the match ends.
Done, yani.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like jiu-jitsu, the match goes until there's a submission. If it's a difference of 10, so if it's 10-1, the match will still go on. But if it's like 11, it became 11-1, no, it should stop. So these wrestling styles, today's Olympic styles, so you either take down, you accumulate points from takedowns, or you pin someone. And catch wrestling, the old style of wrestling, it's the pin was there, but also the submission. So, example, if I take someone down in catch wrestling, and you pin and you go into close guard, if you accept close guard and you're on your back, that's a pin. You cannot accept being on your back, with two shoulders. Like if your side escaping and trying to come up or going for an omoplata, that's not a pin.
Okay.
But if you accept your shoulders on the mat, that's a pin.
Yeah.
So you either win by
Just
that.
like judo.
Judo, yes. But judo is, you have to pin them for 25 seconds.
Okay.
In catch wrestling, I'm not sure what the time limit was. In today's wrestling, freestyle Greco-Roman, as soon as two shoulders land clearly touching in the same time, the ref will this one. So catch wrestling developed actually into professional wrestling, the way we see it today. The
What are
WWE.
in Olympics?
Today we have two styles in Olympics: freestyle wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling. The upper body we said was Greco. Catch wrestling, the one with the submissions, is not in the Olympics today. It's almost a dead art.
Sheesh.
Like it's not existent. I trained. My coach actually had a catch. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt now, and he had a freestyle wrestling and a catch wrestling background. So the stuff they do is like brutal, because a lot of things are allowed, like neck cranks and stuff, and the way they try to pin someone is like, even if you do wrestling like the normal wrestling, there is a lot of brutal things because you want to force the guy to go on his back. So you lock his arms out and it will be like stretching all over. It's like it's a different type of nasty, Like jiu-jitsu is a joint tuck. For them, it's like, no, the way they make you turn is like just, like you feel like some
looks good in street
sadistic. Like you feel like these are just bunch of sadistic guys.
But it can be used in MMA at least, yeah.
Yeah, some of it, yes. Not all. Yes, some of it, yes. Definitely. So catch wrestling developed into what we see as WWE.
Oh, okay.
So what happened was before they did catch wrestling a lot of in the carnivals. Before it was a big thing in the UK and American culture and the carnivals. So what would happen is in catch wrestling, they would have sometimes they would take out the pin and will make it a submission only match, and that's how it went in the carnivals. So when it's a 2-minute match, it's fun. Everybody enjoys. Even if today I show you a 2-minute match, but imagine the matches that were going on for 1 hour, 2 hours. Like it's boring. Even for me and you or some people who are in the sport, it's like
should be limit, yani.
So what they started to do was the owner of the carnival or event would tell these two wrestlers, okay, tomorrow guys, you're gonna wrestle. You're gonna beat this guy 2 minutes in with this lock, to make it interesting. But if that guy objected and said, no, I'm not losing to this guy, why should I lose? They would have a real wrestling match, a catch wrestling match the day before the carnival, and who wins in the show. So they wanted her. And that's why they made some of these submissions. They changed it. Like if you see Kurt Angle, he actually does a toe hold. But the way he does a toe hold, he lifts someone's leg up and he's exaggerating, is because before people didn't have replays. Like even today, if you see a submission, sometimes in a competition, boom, you see the guy tap, but what happened? Nobody understands,
yeah.
So they try to make it exaggerative and telegraphing, so all the audience understands.
Can see, yeah.
So that's how it developed into the WWE stuff wrestling. So it came all from catch wrestling. So back in the day, these guys were legit grapplers, Even today, a lot of them have freestyle wrestling backgrounds, but before, back in the day, these guys were
and professionally they should learn, yani. By the way, there are a few guys in Bahrain who are into wrestling.
Yeah.
It's funny to see them, yeah. But I don't know.
It's crazy.
I don't know whether they really practice any grappling or anything. It's just throwing.
It's choreography. It's like acting, I don't know.
Really,
maybe some of them. Because, Bahrain is such a small community. People who have trained in martial arts, we know.
Yeah, you can know easily.
You can know. Even if you go into their Instagram
it's a handy
account, you will find out,
The only thing is they need exposure. Yeah.
But that's catch wrestling. Sorry, but It's crazy.
So how do you differentiate, like, if that is the case of catch wrestling?
Yeah.
Is it something related to somewhere in jiu-jitsu or?
Catch wrestling, like the thing about catch wrestling, like you can distinguish catch wrestler and a jiu-jitsu fighter, because in catch wrestling they don't do much guard work.
Mhm.
If they're on their back, they want to come up. They're like,
It's just attack.
it's wrestling, but it's even their ground game is more top game, you know.
Mm.
And in catch wrestling,
Yeah.
they're known for certain moves. Like a lot in catch wrestling is the double wrist lock, aka Kimura. So the double wrist,
Kimura, Americano.
yeah, the Kimura especially, they call it the double wrist lock. Even if you tell a catch wrestler Kimura, it's like, what's
Kimura, yeah.
Kimura? No, it's double wrist lock. Call it a double wrist lock, you know. For me, I don't mind. I trained both. I'm not like,
Oh, okay.
not like, how do you say, like very like
Biased on
biased on that subject. Like it's just a technique. Then we have
At
to
the
call
end,
it.
it's self-defense and sports.
Like for me, if it works, it works. Whether I call it double wrist lock or Kimura,
There are so many
as long as I
moves.
can do it, you know. As long as
In
as I can
fact,
do it, effectively.
Americano name came from a wrestler.
Americana, actually, yeah, because these catch wrestlers were doing carnival in Brazil,
Yeah.
and they taught to these Brazilian guys. So they use Americana is translated
It's
to
when
American
wanted,
lock,
yeah.
you know, to American lock.
Yes.
So
Invented. Yeah.
it was the Kimura was called Americana, by the way.
I was called him.
Yeah. Kimura and Americana both were called Americana. So this was like a reverse Americana, and this until this guy Kimura, he submitted Helio Gracie with a Kimura. His name is Kimura, so he popularized the move. So you know, imagine like today I hit a guillotine choke, and people start calling it the Eyas choke. You know, like the Eyas. So that's what happened. It had a name, but the name in Brazil was called Americana.
Okay.
But the Americans actually were doing it long before, and it was called double wrist lock.